as well, just for today. But if we want to start with just something light, because I mean it's been a while, and so when people don't know what else to talk about, what do they talk about is the weather, of course.
All right.
And so the weather has been getting warm, but also I just saw the first predictions for the cherry blossoms for this year.
What's the date?
Great hosting that.
So the first date is Jeju is supposed to start their cherry blossoms on March 20th. And up here in Seoul, it's supposed to start on March 28th. And
March
most of the
28th.
country is going to start getting cherry blossoms around the end of March. A few days, a few places are earlier. Jinhae, down south near like Busan area is like early 20s. And the latest is Chuncheon, which is April 5th, according to this little guide that I've got here for the start of it. So we can expect right around the start of April is when Seoul should be getting like the serious cherry blossom. So plan your date days around that. Go out to the river, get a mekju.
Is that earlier than usual, or is that right on time?
I feel that it's been getting earlier just in general in the last few
Yeah.
years, but I think it's probably on time for these days. I do remember I went to the Yoido festival a bunch of years ago, like I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. And I don't remember exactly, but I think it was like the second or third week in April. And so it's definitely gotten earlier
Yeah.
than it was like a few years back. But I think this is kind of normal. I think last year was similar, like end of March, beginning of April ish.
I do
So
remember when I was a teacher in 2002. I don't know why I remember this, but it was March and we were on a field trip with the kids and we were wearing t-shirts. Like it was March, early
in
March,
March.
and I looked at my the Hagwon director. I'm like, wow, it's warm today. She's like, oh, pollution. That was her
Pollution
answer.
keeps the heat
Yeah.
in. Oh,
It
good.
keeps the heat in, I guess.
Oh,
But
good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, things are gonna get pink pretty soon. The weather's changing, the days are getting longer, spring is upon us.
Yeah. There
So
we
hopefully
go.
the air stays clean, but we'll see about that.
Nice. So what do you guys want to talk about first today? We got a couple of articles that Kev
Yeah, I found
you posted.
those two things. Yeah, they're both kind of interesting, like Korea things. And I've got another one later. We'll see if we have time for. Um, I don't know.
The
Let's
ageism one is pretty good. I mean that's a nice one to start
let's
on.
start with that because I think this is a topic that slightly is less concerning for us. It's about the subway fares and things like that.
Yeah. And for our listeners out there that aren't aware, if you are 65 or older in Korea, you get free.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. You get free use of the metro, of the subway. And
And
so
so,
do they
Jack, you're
give
going to
them
be
like
getting there pretty soon, right?
what's that?
Couple more years.
Yeah, I'm really close to if I make it that far, that's what I'm worried about. Um, yeah, the
But yeah,
yeah.
free subway. And is it bus as well, or is it only subway? Actually, I don't know this. It might.
It's got to be free transportation, right?
It's got to
Within
be.
the city.
The article only talks about subway, but now that I think
Yeah,
about it, it's got to be bus as well.
I
I
think
would
they.
think so. Why would
I would
they
think
make,
so.
yeah. If anything, they'd flip that, I would think. There's buses, I think, are more practical, like for what do you say? Retirees, non-working. Like I think of like the subway as being like a commuter for getting to the office and stuff, and you
Yeah,
know, short little distances around your neighborhood. You'd want to have at least a mile bus, little green buses.
Interesting. The article specifically says free subway transportation. It doesn't say
Oh, maybe
free
not.
transportation.
I
Now
mean
I'm
it's
honestly not
possible. I
sure.
guess. Yeah, maybe that they're two totally different things. I guess I just don't know. But
I have to
the
find out about that. But anyway, the subway fares, they're debating either raising the age to 70 or raising the subway rates,
mhm.
right?
How much is the subway right now? I don't
It's
pay
like
attention.
1,150 maybe, something like that. It's like
Yeah,
just a little bit.
it's
It's
so
still
cheap.
crazy cheap.
It's
It's
Yeah,
still
so
crazy cheap.
cheap.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
like
And even if they raised it 500 won, it would still be, a dollar 50, you
Yeah,
I
know.
think
I think
when I was still living in Chicago, I think it was over $2 to get on. And then like, if you transfer whatever, you might get a discount if you're in the same, maybe. But would you say it was 1,700?
no 1,150. It's
1,150 currently?
um wait, no, maybe some that's remember that's the base fare. I don't know exactly, but about that.
Right, because
And that's
distance,
the base fare, of course. It does
yeah.
go up even on the subway. Like, the further you travel, of course, the more it goes up.
All right, so base fare in US dollar right now for any Americans listening or anybody else that more comfortable with USD, that's 88 cents to get on the subway, one of the biggest cities on earth.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Uh,
And it's an amazing subway. It's one of the
and one of the
like
most
best.
expensive cities on earth, which is
That's
often
true.
crowed about, right? People talk about how Seoul is the most expensive place to live. We've had episodes about this, talking about economics and things like that. I
yeah.
think this is a good example about if you live a different lifestyle, you can manage to cut costs. Like if you're going to drive a car and pay for parking, yeah, you're going to pay tons, right, for a parking spot. Like the parking spot we have, we don't have it with our house. We have a lot we have next
Mm,
door.
yeah,
Um,
cars are expensive.
I'm not going to say how much it costs because it's ridiculous. Uh, but
Well, now I'm curious.
at the same time, I
What is
can
it?
get
Is it
on.
100? Is it 200 a month? What is
I'm
parking?
not I'm not talking about my rents. It's bad, Kev. It's bad. I'm right next for listeners. I'm right next to Soul Station on the main drag. It's premium. But if you compare um, paying for a small studio apartment for your car, let's put it that way, in rent versus 88 cents to get onto the train, I mean,
Yeah.
you can totally make it happen if you want to.
Uh,
So,
One of the cool
so what do
things
you
that
think about like, I mean, raising rates that to definitely happen, probably. Although, um, raising it for old people, do you think that's going to happen? Do you think there's a chance of it?
I have a different question, but based on that question, Kev, do you think they're creating this dichotomy to justify raising the rate? It's like we can either raise the rate or we can kick these puppies. Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm
You have to
saying?
choose
Well, I don't.
one. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
honestly, I think a lot of people kind of agree with the like not giving old people the free ride. Well, depends. However, I don't think that it would ever pass because it's a law that it needs to be a law. It's not just something that the government, because it's like a private company, they can't just do it. It's actually a legal thing. And so, in order for the government to push it through, it would actually need to be a law change. And, I mean, old people vote. And so it will never go through because no old people are going to vote for people who are, you know, saying raise their what they have to
And
pay.
and it's been codified in law since 1984. That's when Chun
Right.
Han put that, like, enacted that. So you're talking about like what, 40, 35 years of precedence or whatever, 30, 40 years of
Mm.
of,
Oh,
of
really?
precedent,
Yeah.
and they're just going to overturn it. It's like it's kind of, and also I just like principally I like it. It's just like it's like respect for your elders. It's built into the language, it's built into the law. I mean, it makes
The one
sense,
thing that
you
I
know?
would really like to see change though, because I'm maybe you guys don't know, there's a lot of like it's kind of a part-time job for old, generally men in Korea, though I'd assume either gender can do it, is it's kind of like same day delivery, but it's crazy cheap same day delivery because it's kind of cheap, or because it's slow. So basically there's old people who will come to your house, pick up something that you want to get delivered, and then they take the subway and deliver it to whoever you want to deliver it to. Now it takes them a couple of hours because they're taking the subway, but it costs them nothing.
Oh, I see.
And so subways are being used rather as a business expense by these old people because it's free for them.
Yeah, but
Now
I'm not gonna interrupt the some elderly person's
I'm not,
side hustle. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I'm not necessarily against that. Fine, use
Yeah.
it. I mean, actually, I found something interesting about subway fees around the world as well. But what I do think that they should change is at least make it so that older people cannot get on the subway during rush hours for free. Because if you ever take
Either,
the subway on
either
the rush
way,
hour,
like what you're saying is just playing devil's advocate to keep the conversation going. But what you're saying is you're okay letting the elderly use the train and not pay in delivering goods, which means that they're delivering goods for a private company, someone's cafe, someone's kimbap stand, whatever it is. That company then is exploiting the welfare system in order to do their business, right?
Well, what I am actually saying is that the subway should be free for everyone.
Well, that's a different issue entirely then.
Mm.
Then
Right.
everybody can be exploiting it whichever which way. But I'm just saying if you have, well, everyone would be exploiting, everybody would be using it as they would, just the same way we all use the roads, right? Like a private business uses a road to walk down, so do you. But yeah, having an army of grandmas and grandpas delivering my goods via a private train that has been forced to have this policy by the government, I don't know. I'm
That's
not
why
saying
I
it's
still
that big of
I
a
just think
deal.
that mostly they
It's
should
funny.
the older people should have to pay at least maybe like the kids rate, because kids get to ride public transportation for half fee, I think. So
Oh
at
yeah,
least during
totally.
rush hour, at least during rush hour, they should have to pay at least something. Maybe that would just because rush if you ever take the train on rush hour, it's insane. It's not fun. I was actually on the train yesterday during rush hour. It felt Actually, I did a quick count. I tried to guess 1 meter, especially because there was the whole Itaewon, crush incident a few months ago. When from each stop, and I was like, I happened to be in a spot where I was relatively safe, but I was at the door where I knew a lot of people were going to be getting off because I was going to be getting off and making that transfer as well. And so, like 3 or 4 or 5 stops before the transfer, people get push on, and more people push on, and more people push on. In the 1 meter square around me, there were like 10 or 12 people. It was literally like crowd crush territory in there. So anything that they can do to reduce how many people take the train during rush hour would be beneficial.
Well, here's
That's just
my take
uncomfortable.
on it. Like, if I hate when politicians do these kinds of, like Ryan said, like they build a dichotomy and then you have to choose A or B.
Gotta be what that shit is. Come on,
No,
man.
it's
It's such a
it's crazy,
joke.
right?
It's
Well,
a joke.
what I want to ask them is, have you exhausted all possibilities, like for funding? Your government, you have let's say you have a deficit. Okay, what are the property taxes that the people in Lotte Tower, Gangnam are paying right now? Because I'm just curious, is it 1% of what it's worth? Are they paying their fair share?
Come on,
What are the
Jack.
corporations
This
paying?
is so obviously chosen. It's so obviously chosen because they raised
Yeah.
flagfall went up on taxis. What was that? Just a couple years ago.
It was
Um,
more recent. We just talked about it.
was it not even 2 years ago?
It was like going to be going up like this year, I think. It was one of the last episodes we talked about, Ryan. It was just 2 or 3
Yeah,
episodes
they're just.
ago.
I think they're just picking this dichotomy. Come on, it's like we're
Yeah.
gonna have to raise the fee, or you could kick your grandmother in the face. I don't know. Your choice,
I
man. Your
guess
choice.
I'm gonna have to kick your grandmother in the face because my hands are tied, I can't oh man.
Yeah. In other news, the rate's gonna go up. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to justify it, I guess, right? In the most sympathetic way possible, I suppose. Is that just,
Yeah, probably.
you know, I don't know. Is that all we have to say about that? I guess there's not, my opinions are kind of I would rather pay a little bit more now, and then in the future I get to have the free, subway use. That'd be nice,
Yeah.
if I
I
make
mean,
it
it is another
65.
age thing. One of the
Yeah.
reasons that they're talking about it as well is because that the number of people in that age group are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so,
Oh, that's the point.
more and more and more people are no longer paying for Subway, basically. And that's going to continue to
Well, okay, that
increase.
that's actually a really good point. That lends some legitimacy to the question then that I'm making fun of. But that's a really good point. You have this expanding demographic. What are you going to do? Um, yeah, I mean that is a way
Mm.
to kind of hit them all at the same time.
Well, I think
Um,
Kevin's, your plan is actually going to probably have to come to fruition because by 2070, they said 46% of the total population will be over 65. So
I mean,
you're
but that's
looking at,
50 years from now, so who knows what's actually
yeah.
going to happen by then. But yeah, the Korean population, we've talked about that, of course. But that's a big part of it, of course. I mean, imagine if 50% of the population was riding the subway for free every day, then it's no longer. But
yeah.
retirement age will be 125 though. So it's
Yeah, I mean, if we start
with
looking
the
at age
pills.
things, it's both. If retirement age goes up, then maybe that can be, reasons for upping the age for this as people live longer. So not only is the population higher and higher, but people are using the free subway for longer and longer. So there's a lot of reasons to up the age for free subway or
Well, let me tell you
or
something. I'll
changes.
be 93 in 2070, and if I'm still teaching English as a second language, you have my full permission to push me in front of the train as it barrels through the station, and it's on record right here. So
All
there you
right, listeners, remind me in 50 years, has Jack been pushed in front of a train or not?
go.
It's
Yes.
gonna be hard, Jack, I think, but remember that there's all these like doors in front of the trains. Like some of the stations have it, but I don't think by the time I'm 90, I won't be able to lift you up over the if I could even lift you now, it's gonna be hard to push you in front of the train.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure they'll have. It'll be a hover train or something. So who knows what? Some Back to the
What
Future.
imagine old us. I push you in front of the train. I'm like, there's where you go, Jack, and then the train just flies over your head, and you're like, damn you, Kevin.
It doesn't
Nothing
matter. My
happens. You just
consciousness
break
will
your hip.
immediately be downloaded into some, supercomputer. I'll be fine. I could live.
Anyway,
So yeah, singularity. You guys want to talk about it? No.
I actually just talked about that last week with some students. But no, let's move on to the Seoul
Second article. Yeah.
changing its slogan yet again. Um,
Oh my gosh, I love these articles. They just make me laugh so
So
hard.
the
mm.
I.Seoul.U is going away. Someone finally decided that's not a good idea.
Well,
Just
yes,
roll off the
basically,
tongue.
I.Seoul.U. So the current slogan is I period Seoul period the letter U I.Seoul.U. Um,
There's
now this
nothing more
comes from,
pathetic than puns with the word soul. You know what I mean? Like just nothing worse than that.
I mean, Jack, you're
Just
like
kidding.
literally the pun guy. How can you say
No,
any
no, no.
pun is pathetic?
We're
Yeah.
we're three foreigners here. We've been here for a long time. Um, Kev, you're kind of the language expert among us here. So, do you know? Does Jack? Do you know either? Are we missing? Are we not in on the pun? Like, what's the etymology of soul?
I mean, I think
So
what they're
in terms
saying
of,
is like
well, the
they're
pun
using it as
comes from,
soul, SOUL, right? That's what they mean. I soul
no,
you. I
no,
mean, like I
no, no.
Soul
I
is
feel
This
you.
is just
Indonesian,
this is
no?
Seoul, the city.
Quest.
Um, I mean that's the old slogan when we all came to Korea. The old slogan was Soul of Asia. That was SOUL of Asia.
Hey, that
So
actually
that
makes
was using the
sense.
one. That I
And that
liked.
really
I actually liked that slogan.
pissed off China, right? Because they're like,
Yeah,
no,
why? Do you know
we're the
why that?
soul of Asia.
Oh, that's why. Um,
And then Thailand get angry. No, but I mean, it's just
um,
ridiculous, right?
China's not the soul of Asia. It's just it's a clever pun. And China, if anything, I mean, their
Well,
name
it's a
goes
pun.
to
I,
center.
yeah.
But the I stole you, I think it's because I think that's just a bad translation, actually, because the Korean slogan is Nawa Noe Soul. It's like yours and my soul, basically. So it's like mine and your soul. And so it's like I soul you, because the Korean one also has me and you in it. So I think it's a bad
But I'm thinking
translation
I
for
have
this
a
one.
totally different take on it. You know the expression "I heart you," and then you
It
have
might
the
be
song
connected to
"Heart
that.
and Soul." Heart and soul go together. I soul you. I heart you. I soul you. I soul you.
I
It's a
think,
three
Jack, you're
steps
reading
Oh,
removed.
way
there's too
more
much
into
effort. It's
this.
just too much effort.
Yeah,
I,
right. It's too clever by half, right? Like it's
and
just
I've
too.
been working on this for years. I
Yeah,
can't deal
yeah,
with it anymore. I'm glad to get rid of it.
yeah.
So,
It's
Kev,
terrible.
what's the new idea? What were some of the new proposals?
They're voting for it, actually. Where was it? I tried looking, by the way, the vote was done last month. It ended end of January, according to the website. And so it seems like a month later we should have had results because it was an internet poll. I mean, that should be instant, but I couldn't find it. I was trying this morning. If anyone out there knows, let me know. But there were four things that we could vote for Seoul. Seoul for you. And these are all, oh no, they're not all. Seoul for you, Amazing Soul, Soul, my soul, the last one being the OUL, and Make It Happen Soul.
So
Soul my
every
soul
time
sounds
there's
like
a
soul
new
my soul. I don't know. That doesn't. That's
soul,
not
my
going to
soul,
work.
I would
like
say, Ryan, I think the last one is your favorite, although I think we should change it. Instead of Make It Happen Soul, I think we should do it, and I'm sorry, I have terrible accents. We should make it so, soul, make it soul. because you're a Picard fan. You can imagine Picard. Make it Seoul.
And he could be in the logo too.
Yeah, we gotta have Jean-Luc
Yeah,
Picard on the subway.
with the hand, the finger drop.
Exactly.
I don't like any of them. They're all horrible. They're all terrible. I want to
I
go
want Soul of
negative.
Asia back. I like Soul of
Really?
Asia back.
Soul of Asia? Yeah,
That's
that's
so I like
better.
that one. It was when we came here. It just seemed it was concise. It worked. Um, but most of these slogans are, yeah, I don't know. They're just weird. But actually, the article has some interesting ones. Let's see, because it says some of the um other cities around. So Seoul went from Soul of Asia to I.Seoul.U to now. Oh, according to this, maybe for Soul for You or Soul My Soul. Maybe those are the two that are options. Um, Incheon is all ways Incheon, not
Mm.
always, but all ways. Daejeon is you, the letter U, capital U currently.
Soul for you,
Um,
Daejeon is you.
yeah, is
That's
you.
Make up your
that's
mind,
Um,
Korea. Come on. Yeah.
let's see. Chuncheon's not bad. Romantic Chuncheon. That
yeah.
one.
They've had that since I've been here. I think
Yeah, that
Romantic
one's
they've
been
got
there
that.
Chuncheon. I
forever.
That's like
mean,
in permanent giant letters when you get to the city. I think
Um,
I've seen that so much.
nothing more
I
romantic than a duck LB, like
Yeah,
a
man.
bib.
that guy was pretty good.
Yeah, it is
Um,
good, but
one of one of my favorites when I lived
Greasy
in
duck album.
Suwon, I remember seeing the Suwon slogan. I think they changed it, but I'm not sure. It was Human City Suwon. That one's just that one's pretty amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, in competition with the digital city, human city.
And
Human
I
City.
would like to say that someone out there got paid good money to come up with Busan's slogan, which is Busan is good.
I mean, Busan is good.
Slam dunk.
Busan is good.
This is what I'm talking about. This whole
I need this
program of
job.
the whole slogan program is just a way to funnel government money into the bank accounts of fail sons who got graphic design majors at
That's
middling
so
colleges.
pessimistic, man.
You know what I mean? Like that's all it is.
It paints a
Um,
funny picture though. You can imagine this, it's like it's the first of like that 5 year period where they need a new slogan. They pass the job to that guy and he's like, "What? I got to make this? What? What? Yeah, sure, whatever. Busan's good. Fuck off."
Busan's good.
Done.
I'm out of
Done.
here.
Oh, you're a genius, my nephew,
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah, yeah,
son,
yeah.
or whatever.
Where's my
Yeah.
check?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
don't know if there's any saving Soul's logo.
one of the big issues, of course, is because they seem to be changing it so damn often. I mean, like the I.Seoul.U, and I made tons of jokes around it when it first came out. It's like I.Seoul.U, it's just terrible. But they spent quite a bit of money on this, and now they're creating a new one. I mean, like the article was saying, there's all these huge I.Seoul.U not statues. What are they like? Slope like big landmark things around like Han
Yeah.
River or all these other places. That costs a lot of money to create these things and have all of these new slogans. And now it's just wasted, and they're using more money again to create a new slogan and create and destroy all these old landmarks and then create new 3D logos for whatever the new slogan is and everything.
It seems like from the article, it's kind of a trend, right? Like every time there's a new administration, they want to rearrange the furniture, and put their little stamp on, like
That's probably a part of
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
I coined so you could say like 10 years from now in a bar, you'd be like, that Busan is good. I coined that. That was mine. Yeah. I wrote that. I mean,
I would. That's a good question though, Kev. Like I never thought about the expense of all the hardware. For people that haven't been to the city or seen a lot of images of it, it's true. Like that, I Heart Soul. Go to the airport. Go everywhere. I mean, giant pieces of installations
Mm.
with this with not just this logo, not letters on something you can just paint over, but like 3D block letters, like down by the Hong Kong Daekyo,
Hmm.
all over the place. So if you look at other, the first thought I had was like, New York, Empire State, um, you know, Wisconsin cheeseheads. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's not our slogan. But,
It could
like,
be.
I
Minnesota.
just think
I'm
myself there.
freezing my ass off right now.
Yeah, I can't think of what the slogan is. But
Arizona, it's a dry heat. That probably is the official slogan,
Yeah.
yeah,
actually.
like but there are slogans for all the states and the cities, the Windy City, right? Chicago. Um
That says more of a nickname than a slogan. although I'm
That's
not sure
true.
how that's
That's not a
used.
slogan. What is the slogan of Chicago?
Well, the great thing about the article is the guy that wrote it, or somebody in the article said, nobody, if you like a great city, you probably have never heard their slogan, or you don't know what their official slogan is. He's like, what? Nobody knows the official slogan
Yeah.
of Tokyo, but it's
I do
"End
think I was
Tokyo."
reading that the New Zealand they have a new concept because they were trying to brand it and they went with 100% pure New Zealand, and that was apparently relatively effective as a branding concept. And that's the idea. It's trying to brand your city for tourists, right? So people
Yeah,
will remember it. But I mean that's why also it should probably not change every 5 years because brands stay the same. Nike, we all know Nike's slogan because it just stays the same forever. And so when you hear someone say just do it, you just know that's Nike.
yeah. I mean,
Not
Kev,
not a sponsor of the
I
show,
was
by the
gonna
way.
change our podcast to the Soul Mustache, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna
Right,
do it
we
now.
that's a bad idea because our 10 fans out there wouldn't know how to find us. That
Right, yeah. Well, but I mean, especially when the alternatives are so terrible. Like if they hit on one that was just like really gold, and I thought, oh yeah, you really have something, but it's just another crappy pun with the word soul, and another you know you without spelling it Y-O-U. I hope they don't throw away those installations. Keep the word soul, keep the word S-O-U-L, and keep the letter U, because definitely it'll come
we'll
in
use it next
useful in
time.
the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking for slogans for American cities, and yeah, there just isn't any except for like New York has "I love New York,"
Right.
but it's like not even really a slogan, is it? I mean, it's just like iconography that belongs with New York because it's not "I love New York." It's like a T-shirt
The heart,
typically.
I heart
That's the
New
most
York.
famous way
Yeah.
to use it. There's stickers, whatever, but it's the T-shirt. I looked up Chicago, LA. Yeah, they just don't have the same. Yeah, there's not like a slogan getting renewed, it looks like. Um, so yeah, maybe it is a cash grab by the government. I don't know.
Well,
It
to me, it
definitely
seems
could
like
be.
it's a way to do politics without doing politics. What are I'm busy. Oh, real issues that have to be dealt with. There's no time for that. We've got to get this slogan thing handled, or else, the whole thing's going to fall apart. So, it's, there's no stakes. It's a zero stakes game. If they choose a really terrible one, then it just goes back to status quo. And if they come up with a really great one, the best case scenario you get is like, what do you think about this slogan? It's pretty good. All right. That's the best case
Yeah.
scenario. No one's gonna be
Also,
like backflips.
what do you think about sending it to the internet for a vote? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. You know that.
Terrible idea. I'm surprised we didn't get like Soli McSoulface or whatever that
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Cody Mc.
right.
But
Yeah.
guys, we're being pessimistic about the whole thing. We could have this all backwards. It could be like a massive revenue generator for the city. Imagine how many keychains they sell that say "I.Seoul.U," right?
Oh God,
At least
you can get
five,
them
at
so
least
cheap
five or
now.
six.
Yeah.
You know, $2
Yeah.
each. That's $12.
12 bucks.
They're bringing it
It's a
back.
jobs program. That's what we're
Yeah,
saying. It's a jobs program. Yeah, we got.
yeah. All
Do
those
you
sign
want do you
builders.
want the kind of tourists that make their decisions based on slogans? It's like we're going on a family trip. We could go anywhere in Asia, but we're going to choose based on the quality of the city slogan, which I Soul U. Mm.
Let me check Gary, Indiana. I bet they
Yeah.
got a good one.
Gary is great.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect, honey. Let's go.
All right.
At least you know
This
that
is
Busan is
great.
good if you're following those slogans. You can
Yeah, I
be safe with
guess.
that.
Yeah.
Hey, Busan's all right. It says right here, Busan is
But
good.
Jeju is better. Is just
JJ.
slightly
Well, now I want to see competitions between them, like referring to each other, get meta with the slogans. That'd be kind of amazing.
yeah. I don't know, man. It's so funny how like they do take it seriously though. Like because I do remember High Seoul. Like that's when I came to Korea the first time in
Mm.
2002. And I remember rolling my eyes at it back then, because I just thought it's just silly. It's like doesn't make any sense, and they're really, really excited about it. And then, you know, every administration they seem to, every 10 years just rolls over. And
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like Chunchan. I don't even think of Chunchan as like with the slogan. I always think of it for its food, So like Dak Kelby
Well,
or
there's a slogan for every damn place. I mean, like, Ryan, you're in Yongsan-gu. There's probably a Yongsan. Do you know what it is? I can't think of the Noan one. I've seen it. I know I've seen it like every damn day
I
when I
think I've
walk
seen like
outside.
a logo. Like it's foggy in the
It's
background.
somewhere. Yeah, no one has the same. Again, I tried to find it this morning. I couldn't spot it. Pyeongtaek probably has something as well. Jack, do you happen to know it offhand? All of us are just, it's just, I'm putting us
it's
all on the spot. I couldn't think of my own.
I.Seoul.U, I think is what it is. Actually,
Um, but there's slogans for everything here. Like every little gu or dong has their own,
I think
like
I know no
slogan
one. I
as
think
well.
no one is no one wants to leave. That's a good one.
That'd
Sorry,
work.
that's terrible.
That
Yeah.
that wouldn't be bad. Going back for the puns, I will say for the puns, the Korea Herald article that I found, they hit the pun out of the park because they're saying selling your soul. Why city slogans keep changing.
Oh,
So
that's the best one
They
right
should
there. I
hire those
like it.
guys.
Yeah.
yeah, whoever the writer for this, who is it? Son Ji Hyung, you're the winner on this one.
Well done.
Selling your soul, but
Selling your soul. I love it.
Yeah,
um, let,
one for Young Son.
let's go. I've got one piece of good news just to finish off with for today. I actually just saw this. This is just from yesterday's news. Actually, I got it on the Chungang Daily. Um, Korea court recognizes same-sex partners as legal dependents now. So steps forward, a
Wow.
very big step forward, actually.
When was this?
Um, sorry,
When was this?
yesterday. This is brand new. That's why I didn't have a
What
chance to
what are the
share it with you yet.
implications? Like, what are the legal implications then?
So this is it's not recognizing same-sex marriage yet,
Mhm.
but it does recognize, like, if you the title is, it recognizes same-sex partners as legal dependents.
Okay.
What this means is that same-sex partners can be dependents for things like medical insurance, for
Yeah.
example. So, right, Jack, your wife, my wife are on our medical insurance from our company, from our university. So, Heesun, she has my medical insurance because we're a family basically. And so now same-sex partners can do the same. They can be considered a family. They can be considered dependents of each other
Do you
for
know
things like insurance, primarily.
if you have a link? I mean, I can look myself too, but send me one later today. I'm curious. Um, we were talking earlier in the episode about aging populations and the subway system and free transportation and stuff like this, and how that might be taxing the system when half the population is, over the age of 60 and eligible for social benefits like that. On the other side, I wonder if this legislation is in place in the spirit of pro LGBTQ stuff, like same-sex marriage, same-sex
Mm.
partners, right? We're saying we're benefits for same-sex, or like heterosexual life mates that live together, because elderly people that don't have a husband or a
Uh,
wife living together because housing costs have gone up and they have no income, and they need to apply for social security benefits as a household.
this
Or
does actually come from same-sex partners as
okay,
opposed to just living mates. It was actually because of
do you think this could be a
um
stepping stone to like same-sex marriage here?
It's
I
got to be,
mean,
right?
it's on the it's this is an amazing, like, progress step. So many people have joked about how Korea was just so anti-homosexuality, and 10, 20 years ago it really seemed that way. Although, I mean, talking to students over the years, their opinions definitely are much more like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter, it's not a big
Right.
deal, more than it was 10 years ago. So it's yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's actually a step I wasn't expecting. It does come from, according to the article, it basically comes from, there was a case, some guy sued the health insurance for refusing to recognize his partner as a legal dependent. And so it went through the courts, basically. And they've changed the laws now through their pushing it.
Because
So
advocacy
basically, so
groups were putting pressure on them, so the judges will look like you'll look bigoted if you don't do something, right? But they're not able to take that full step because maybe, would you say it's the older generation, the conservative, the kind of older views
I mean,
about
I
homosexuality or whatever.
don't know about that's a bit much to guess at this point, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
I mean, there definitely is that, but either way, this was gone through the court process because of a same-sex couple that wasn't able to get insurance, and then they now will be able to get it. They actually, like, they're not legally married, although they did have a wedding ceremony here, according to the
yeah.
article. Because remember, wedding ceremonies in Korea don't actually make you married. The wedding ceremony is just the party. That's just a separate thing. You have to go and fill out the
You got to
paperwork
sign the
later.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah, so this couple, they actually did their own wedding ceremony. They've been living together for 5 or 6 years already, but now the way that they had to register themselves, I guess this is an important thing. They're registered as common law partners.
Okay.
So legally, that's how they're recognized. So it could work with
Hetero couples.
hetero couples as well. Yeah. Basically where, if you're not legally married, but you've been living together for X number of years or whatever, I don't know how the law works exactly. You're a common law
Yeah,
partner.
that this is my point, that I think it's benefiting beyond somebody that's in a homosexual
I mean, it
relationship.
certainly could, but that's not the intent of the law. Like anyone in those other cases could take this and be like, oh, well, now we are common law partners as well. But this was, specifically because of a lawsuit,
Intent or
Maybe
not, I mean,
because
I would
of
just think
this.
that group would be huge, and the group's expanding, right? I mean, just like I said, like you got rising housing costs, you got a rising demographic of elderly, and you said the purpose of this is for health insurance, old people, health insurance. Like, I
But
think it would be
don't old
just,
people in Korea already mostly have health insurance?
well, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm not
So
sure how that works. So maybe that's
again,
an,
like, while I don't discount that, like maybe some people could, use this for that. I think that's a relatively, I don't know how much of a thought that was for it. I think it really does come to
or
same-sex
you have less
relationships.
and less people getting married, right? At the very least, less and less people having children, having like a standard
Hmm.
family. You have a buddy, you're both 40 years old, you've never gotten married, you have no
the odd
intention to.
couple. Yeah.
You're already living together because you can't afford to have your own joint anymore. Hey, man, are you sick of paying the premium for health insurance? Let's slash this in half.
I think
Like,
what we're learning here, Jack, is that Ryan's going to ask one of us to move in pretty soon.
Well, it's the
I
arbitrage
got a spare
trading
room.
on this law that's supposed to be anti fight discrimination, and we'll arbitrage trade on it with as
Yeah.
cisgendered people. But no,
Either way,
no.
I think
The
this
reality
is a
is that
really
like
cool step forward for Korea, which, like had the kind of stereotype among expats here of being very anti-LGBT, and this is something I honestly didn't expect when I saw it in the news. It's like, that's a pretty cool step forward, like legal recognition that same-sex partners, even if they're not married, but it's still a step, right? It's not all the
Hmm.
way, but it's a step.
well,
It's very
I
cool.
Yeah,
read that
I would
there's
hope so. I was just being, I'm not trying to be purposely pessimistic. I'm just being critical and trying to understand how, I mean, I'm surprised, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm,
Just as you're surprised. I'm very surprised that this would happen.
but when you get married, there are like studies have shown that there are like 1,000 rights you get, like 1,000
yeah.
little benefits that there are, some big, some small, that unmarried couples do not get. That was part of the fight
Well,
in
that's like
America
common law is a
for.
thing. That's like common law
Yeah,
marriage, and like, because that way you can still reap many of those benefits without officially legally being quote unquote married.
yeah. I mean, do you think that this is basically like what's the name for it in the States? They were like a civil union or something like that. Like
Something like that.
they twist themselves into a pretzel to not say gay marriage. Like it's anything but that. Like, don't say those two words together. Let's call it a civil union. Let's call it a whatever. But I wonder if that's not like the same kind of dynamic happening here, where it's like, okay, they're gonna get there eventually.
Yeah,
Like there's just no,
it's
it's
on the road.
inevitable, right? Like it's too, if you're gonna be our I heart soul or I.Seoul.U, you have to soul everybody. You can't just soul some of the people, right?
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna get
that's
there.
true. It's everyone's soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, well, for everyone's soul, they can now live together. So very, very cool news, progressive news here.
Yeah.
I'd like to read more about that. Send me the article if you get a chance.
Yep, done. Nice.
All right, for our
Thanks.
listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed we're back. The soul patch, we shaved it off, but it grew back. And so just like a real soul patch, you can't get rid of us that easily. We'll be coming back with some more episodes here, probably 2 a month. We'll try to keep up with that schedule. And if you want to visit our website, go to thesoulpatch.com. You can listen to our episodes right there. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email at podcast@thesoulpatch.com. Is that right, Kev?
Yes, that sounds right.
Podcast@thesoulpatch.com. Yeah,
It's been
you
a
can
while.
send us an email if you got
Yep.
articles. We might even have some interviews scheduled for the near future. So we're going to look forward to that. And yeah, spread the word. We're back. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fun.
My tainted perception distorts, my true meaning is blurred. I am lost to the echoes that whisper and speak in a mantra inventive in meaning, but lost to the darkness, consumed by my being. Destructive impurities nurture inside of me, constantly bound to an emblem of gluttony, feeding on impulse, adapting to fit to the constructed chaos accepted as it. In this complex of choirs I exist without sound. I am lost to the future, forced underground where I frequently polish the steel of my frame.